Support for How in the Hell Did I Get Here comes from the Happy Self-Publisher. Did you know the biggest obstacle writers face is not skill or talent? It's getting started writing. Whether you don't know what to write or have trouble finding the time, the Happy Self-Publisher has a challenge for you. A free 14-day writing challenge, that is. This free challenge meets you where you are and takes you as far as you want to go. You will receive one challenge a day for 14 days with a variety of fun and thought-provoking writing exercises, plus mind-opening writing and creative challenges. Visit thehappyselfpublisher.com to join the free 14-day writing challenge today and get yourself writing now. Hi, it's Kim. What you're about to hear is a recording between me and my sisters, Kari, Jenny, and Skye. We were missing Erin in more ways than one. We'd gathered together virtually on Zoom just a few days after Crazy Larry had passed away to help Kari virtually celebrate her birthday with a happy hour, like we did in those two fun shows that we did last September. And yes, there was smoking and drinking going on. And since this was the first time we'd been together since Crazy Larry, also known as Dad, had passed away a few days earlier, I didn't really set myself up to properly record, which is unfortunate because some funny stories did show up at the end of our almost 3-hour Zoom call, and you're going to hear them today. So even though my mic doesn't sound great, I think you'll get an idea of what kind of shenanigans happen when the sisters get together on Zoom or in real life. This is Kim A. Floden, and you're listening to How in the Hell Did I Get Here? As usual, this episode includes swear words. Stay with us. So this story happened a long time ago, and I'm telling it here after having one big drink and smoking more than a little bit of weed. When you listen, you'll understand why I'm telling you this. And you'll also hear us reminiscing about a previous story we aired, the one where Erin and I have a crazy and miraculous lane change while driving. You can listen to that episode in our archives. It aired on April 25th, 2019. This story is about my first husband. I've had two. We met when I was a senior in high school, and he had a very cool van. And I'm not going to lie, we did some drinking because...
Well, because the van had a built-in keg.
Right.
The van, you could be driving along and you could, oh my God, you could be driving along and he had like a cup holder that he had built with like cut glasses, really nice. And then he'd be like, hey baby, I just flipped the switch and I would pull the thing out and just fill up our cups.
I know,
coming right out of the dash.
Freaking awesome.
No, he would have, no, we didn't have keg beer. We had like mixed drinks, but it was kind of warm, so you had to go get some ice out of the back.
I remember that. Now that you say about getting the ice, yeah, I do remember. It was a rolling bar.
It was a freaking rolling bar. Yeah. So when I graduated from high school, he and I decided we were going to take off, and we did. We went to the, what's the four statues built? Mount Rushmore.
Those four guys on the mountain.
Those four guys in the rocks, yeah, those Mount Rushmore. So it was like in the summer between, you know, after I graduated from high school and was going to go to college, and then it's like 10 days after I graduated high school, I'm like, I'm going in the van. We're going to Mount Rushmore. See ya. And Mom was like, she literally said to me, I'm not going to condemn this, but I'm not going to condone it. Here's a 6-foot, you know, a big long, remember how she used to make those big submarines? And a dozen eggs. Good luck. No
Make
shit.
good choices.
She like gave us a giant submarine sandwich and a dozen eggs. And she's like, well, yeah, make good choices.
Just survive.
That's probably the most definitive thing I've ever heard Mom ever say to any of us. I'm not going to condemn it, and I'm not going to condone it.
That's what she said. And then she gave us a huge giant fucking sandwich and a dozen eggs. Sent us on our way. Good luck. Good luck out there, kids. So I remember we camped at a campground by the river, like maybe
down by the river.
Yeah, literally
in South Dakota, and we woke up late because the entire van was covered with mayflies or something. Maybe
actually, I've had that camping experience too.
We could not even tell it was morning. The entire thing was like buzzing with like we were covered. So that was the first start, and then of course we trucked on over to the guys, the foreheads. Anyway, we went.
Rushmore.
Yeah. Here's what I have been drinking and smoking weed. Okay, so
Excellent. I'm happy.
The big story that I remember is we're in the middle of buttfuck nowhere and somewhere in South Dakota, and it's like, we should have a drink. And I'm like, yes, we should have a drink because we're driving. You know, and it's boring. I don't know what the reasoning was here, because this was not smart at all. He's like, there's nobody out here. It's completely flat. He's like, I've got it on autopilot or with
cruise control.
Cruise control, thank you.
Jesus H.
This is fucking hilarious.
I wish I was there, actually.
He's like, I've got it on cruise control. He's like, I'll get the drinks.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
So he
He's
thought
like,
cruise
just hold
control
the wheel.
was steer control
He
too.
thought cruise control, yeah.
You thought it was like airplane?
Oh my God.
Exactly,
He
airplane.
had to go back. He had to go to the back. And like, they weren't just sitting there. They were inside the bed. Like, you had to open something up and then open the cooler and get all the shit and then bring it up there. It
Holy
wasn't like,
Mother of God.
And
Yeah.
you just stayed in the passenger side.
Holding the wheel.
Wheel. Oh my
No.
God.
Jesus.
Mom should have condemned this.
Right. I don't know why Mom wasn't in favor of this road trip.
Jesus took the wheel. I'm just going to say.
Yeah.
No, you took the wheel. Jesus took the brake.
yeah, but it was all like fine. It was no big deal. But it was only later that I thought about that, and I had the reaction that you're all having now.
Like, what?
Exactly. Like, what the fuck? Yeah,
10
I like
more
have an
minutes,
adrenaline rush just thinking back about that now. Of like that vision of like, there's fucking nobody driving the car.
Well, you had that more than once in your life.
Right, Larry?
You and
Yeah.
Erin digging in the...
right.
Oh yeah, it was exactly like that. But this was even more scary because if I would have looked over, honest to God, and probably seen the empty driver's seat, I would have probably killed us. But I didn't. I just held the wheel and I drove it. But if I would have looked over and seen the ghost driver, I think that would have been it for us. We would have probably
If there
rolled the
would have been
van.
like a 35-mile-an-hour curve, you'd have been screwed.
Oh fuck yeah!
I am still so impressed and mystified though by that time that you and Erin were both digging in the console for the lighter.
That was a true miracle.
Oh my
That was
God.
a true
That is
miracle.
one of my favorite stories in my whole life.
We need to go there if like
And
we
try
ever
to recreate it.
well, just drive over there and so we can see what we
See if
did.
it's like physically possible, like physics.
It was physically
It
fuck.
was.
I don't know how the fuck
It'll
we
never
did
make
that.
sense.
Maybe you were on the
It's
wrong
a
side of the
miracle.
road to begin with. Maybe you were never on the right side of the road to begin with.
You teleported. Wasn't that the explanation you figured out it had to be?
Yes, I think someone picked the car up and physically put it on the other side. I mean, it could be that we were always on the. No,
Wrong
we
side.
weren't
You went
because
through a median.
because when
went
I
through one of
looked
those
up,
little
I
gaps
was like,
in the
"What the
median.
fuck? This does not look right." I'm like, "How the fuck did we do this?"
Honestly, this next story is another story about a questionable choice I made. And this one involves weed, not alcohol. And I'm not saying I made the best or the right decisions, but this is a great story. A couple things to mention before we get into it. The term butthole, butthole, butthole is something my sisters like to say is an inside joke. And lastly, I do not recommend combining weed edibles and driving. No.
I drive better on pot. How do you
Yeah,
think I
just
got
slower.
across the country? No.
Real slow.
at
And on the
45
right side.
miles
No,
an
I
hour.
never drove during the day. I never drove when I was driving across the country, but when I got to my hotel, I surely did. But I drove in and out of New York. I couldn't have done it. There's no fucking way I could have done those drives in and out of New York if I wasn't high as a kite. And that's why I almost got busted when I closed down.
Flat in Baton Rouge. Da-da-da-da. That's not it.
Wait a minute.
What?
You're saying because you almost got busted. You almost got busted for what?
Shutting down the Midtown Tunnel.
Because you
She
were
was
going 10
driving
miles an hour?
so slow.
No, I wasn't high. The problem was I wasn't
Jenny, are you
high.
drunk?
Okay, that's what I was getting at. It was because what you were saying
Well,
was like, okay, if you almost
No,
got busted.
here's the story. I was coming out of Manhattan and I knew how to do all this. It was not a big deal, but I got into the, like it says Midtown Tunnel and then everybody starts going through there, but it's like a tollway and it's like, there's a lot of tolls. I got in there and I could not fucking find the cash only place at all. I'm like, whoa, and traffic is coming up. You come out of the tunnel, so like butthole, and then all the traffic is coming up your butthole. And you have to make a decision, like, how do I go through the toll to get onto the Long Island Express? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I got in there and it had been a bad morning already. And so I'm like, I could not find the fucking thing. So I'm like, I just have to pick one. Well, guess what? If you don't have the pass, you can't go anywhere. So I pull in there and I'm like, whoa, so I'm like, what do I do? I'm like, I'm just going to put my arms up and honk the horn.
Please, I come in peace. Wave a white flag up.
Yeah, basically that's it. And I'm like, fuck me, now what? So here comes, people are behind me honking because they think I'm going to go through. And they're like, oh, fuck with Central. She's stuck.
Yeah.
I couldn't find the cash-only lane when I came out of the Midtown Tunnel, and now I'm stuck. What will happen to me next? Stay with us throughout the break to find out. Hey, this is Kim, also known as the Coloring Book Coach. I just wanted to pop in here and say I hope you're doing well, and also there are some great free coloring pages for you at thecoloringbookcoach.com. And I'm here for you if you need someone to talk to. Right now, I'm offering 20-minute intuitive sessions for just $40. I have the ability to tune into you and your life and provide quick assessment and advice for whatever might be going on. Here's a testimony from a recent client who says, Kim's reading was extremely informative and on target. She knew very specific information about my situation and has provided me with clear direction about next steps to take. She was extremely professional, empathetic, and kind. I highly recommend Kim. She truly has a gift with energy. So if you're interested in giving this a try, reach out to me at thecoloringbookcoach@gmail.com and let's talk. That's thecoloringbookcoach@gmail.com. We left me sitting with my hands up and unable to get through the toll gate. And now, back to my story.
And people are behind me honking because they think I'm going to go through. And they're like, oh, fuck with Central. She's stuck.
Yeah.
So the cop comes and he's like, ma'am, we got to pull you over to the side because it's really heavy with cops in New York. Ever since 9/11, there's like any of those in-out places, there's a lot of cops. So he has me pull over. So I pull over. And I have the California plates on the car, which this is what saved me. He's like, I'm going to be right back. I've never had even a ticket until that point, anything, completely clean record. So, but he leaves and I'm like, oh my God, this is a fucking bad day. What he doesn't know, but I know, is that I have a weed candy in my purse.
Dun, dun, dun.
And I'm like, I've had enough of this. I've had to drive into the city. I got lost. It was terrible. I've already been had a really stressful day. So I'm like, well, he's gone. I'm going to pop that weed candy.
I would do the same. I applaud that.
You got nothing to lose.
Mom would even applaud that.
Yeah. So I pop the weed candy and I'm like, it's a hard candy. And I'm just like sucking that thing. And I'm like, yeah. So for whatever reason, the dude comes back to my passenger side window, which I'm like, all right, that's weird. And he's like, so you just didn't know where the sign, the cash line was? And I'm like, no, I really did not see it. He's like, the sun was in your eyes. I'm like, the sun was in my eyes. And he's like, what do those people out there in California think about the governor? I'm like thinking, who the is the governor? Governor.
Right.
Governor. I'm like, they don't like him. I'm like, I take a 50-50 shot. And he goes,
right.
You're free to go.
Well
and
done,
I'm like,
sister.
Mm-hmm. So I go back to where I'm going to, and I'm having to deal with children that evening. So guess what? I need another pot candy. This situation, I've got teenagers and little kids.
Oh, you need a whole bag
drove
of pot
all the way
candy.
from New York to, you were just still in New York.
Yeah. So I got back there and I had to go talk to the 16-year-old, and I'm knocking at the door and she finally lets me in, and she goes, I walk into her room and I have a weed candy, and she goes, do you smell weed? Do you smell weed? Where is that weed smell coming from? And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I just popped a weed candy, and she's like, oh my God, that shit is so strong. She's like, oh my God. And I'm like,
holy crap.
Yeah, I could have been on Rikers. I'm not even kidding.
Oh God.
This last segment lets you listen in as we sign off and wish Kari a happy birthday. You'll hear me refer to Kari's ponytail, which doesn't exist but really looked like it did the night we recorded, due to a shadow on her chair. And also, the Chinese lantern silliness refers to the time Jenny, Erin, and Skye went to stay with Kari shortly after her husband Jack died. As a memorial, they wanted to light Chinese lanterns, which they did, and almost burned down everything in the vicinity. In other words, it was literally a flaming disaster. But they did have a lot of laughs. Here's the sisters.
Well, Kari, I hope this was a good birthday.
Yeah, did you have cake?
Kitty cake?
Some fucking cake or ice cream? Do you have anything like that at home?
I had a raw hot dog.
Oh my God.
No.
Sounds like a great birthday dinner. It's exactly like the one I did the surprise party for her. That's all she wanted to eat was a fucking raw hot dog.
But, I did learn, scientific study, 2 out of 3 cats do not like raw hot dogs. So.
Oh my God.
Is it Mouse that liked them?
What's your plan later?
No.
Share a can of tuna with them?
No, they don't like tuna either. They don't like
God.
tuna.
I remember you said that. You tried that. Yeah.
Well, you need to have
tuna.
something festive, so like at least.
At this point, I mean, I've had just a fine day. There's been a lot of activity on Facebook, obviously, and time with you guys. That's all good.
Okay, well, I really like your ponytail. I think you should keep it.
And if we could wish you anything, it would be a Chinese lantern from Skye.
Oh, yeah.
I have like 10 more, so there's
Send them
always
down
next
to you.
time.
See if you can survive them.
In retrospect, thinking about that, it's like, that was really dumb. We could have burned the whole neighborhood down.
We have 10 more.
We're going to do it.
Fire
This ain't
bombs.
over yet. Yeah, we're coming back.
Luckily, thank God we were totally incompetent.
Yeah,
I don't know
despite the fact that I pretended to know what I was doing.
Oh my God.
Well, we did have instructions.
Well, the first one went.
It's funny,
Just
I
fine.
do really
First one
think of
went
us
just
as
fine.
competent, but then when I hear us all telling these stories, I'm like, no, we're not
Yeah,
competent.
maybe not. Yeah, maybe
No.
We
not.
have our narrow specialty field.
Yeah.
Hell,
I mean-
you know what, you guys? When I was getting ready, when I got delayed by the lawnmower man, and then I'm trying to get my computer into the office and get everything all set up to meet the deadline to get on this call with you guys. So I go back in the other room to grab my cigarettes or my water or something. I stub my toe on the coffee table, slam my
Shit.
hand down on the coffee table in pain, hit a coaster sitting there, flip it up into the air, and it lands on my head.
Oh my God. You could have done that if you tried.
No. So yeah, that's the kind of competency we're talking about.
Yes.
Narrow fields of specialty.
Right.
Yes.
That's not
Yeah.
it.
This is where it makes me feel like we were related to Larry Vanderwalker, because that is how I picture him making that hole in one. Kind of the same sort of situation.
It
I went to
bounced
light
off
a
his head.
Yes, I went to light a cigarette. I grabbed my golf club. It slipped out of my hands and shot the golf ball. The ball upstairs.
Well, when he came home and told Mom, her response was, well, when that happens, isn't that pretty much just an accident?
Exactly. Yeah, we just talked about that.
Yeah. And then he said he reminded her of that at least once a year about her.
Yeah.
How she shamed him or
Congratulations.
didn't let him
Well, that
celebrate.
would be totally Mom, though. I mean, it's like
yeah.
you could win the fucking, I don't know, something really huge, and she'd be like, well, yeah, but that shit happens to people all the time. And it'd be like, no, it's just a one-in-a-lifetime thing, but okay. Yeah.
Well, if this had gone that way,
Right. It wouldn't have been you, and then it would have been the other person, so it's really not that big of a
blind
deal.
dog gets a bone every once in a while, or
There
whatever.
you go.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Even the blind
Yes.
dog.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day.
Right. Uh-huh.
Oh, fuck. All right, let's box her out.
Okay,
What do
box
we say here?
Out.
All right.
Kari,
Ending the
happy
meeting.
birthday.
Happy
All right,
happy birthday.
Thank you guys.
All
Thank
right.
you for spending
Have
time
fun.
with me.
Yes. All right.
All right.
Toodles.
Night,
All right,
Bye.
here we go.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much to our sponsor, the Happy Self-Publisher. If you've ever dreamed of writing a book, be sure to join the free 14-day writing challenge and get started now. Just visit thehappyselfpublisher.com and sign up today. Meet you back here next week for more How in the Hell Did I Get Here stories. Until then, pay attention, my friends. You just never know when you might find yourself saying,
In retrospect, thinking about that, it's like, that was really dumb. We could have burned the whole neighborhood down.
We have 10 more.
We're going to do it.
Fire
This ain't
bombs.
over yet. Yeah, we're coming back.
how in the hell did I get here? One more thing, if we're making you laugh and feel better, please share the show and pass on the love. Laughter is powerful, and we need it now more than ever, so be a pal and share the show. Plus, a quick reminder that we need and appreciate any financial support you can offer. We're an independent podcast, and we want to keep showing up here for you each week. It's easy for you to show your appreciation for us at buymeacoffee.com/The Coloring Book Coach. Big thanks to Silent Partner for our theme song, 7th Floor Tango, and our ad music, Blue Skies. We found them on YouTube's Creator Library. Find their links in our show notes. How in the Hell Did I Get Here is a production of The Coloring Book Coach and is written, produced, and hosted by Kim A. Floden with editing help from Kari Floden.